Hi, thanks for joining me. Shalom. Today I'm talking about rebellious spirits. And I can think of many situations where a person's steps, their actions, and or their words told the story of their situation and sometimes their predicament um, as a result of rebellion. Um, I'm kind of smiling as I think about the stressful time of potty training I had with my children. Um, And it was during a time when my son was in diaper pull-ups and refusing to go to the potty. Now, when he had to go, he would just freeze, and wherever he was, and he'd get that deer in the headlight stare, you know, in his eyes. And when I saw that, I knew, let me try to grab him and rush him to the restroom. But most times I wasn't quick enough. But he was listening to a rebellious spirit by refusing to be trained when he was almost 4. And we can talk about my parenting skills at another time, but I tell you, the Christian church that I was in at the time, the people say, "Don't worry about it, Share. He'll be potty trained by the time he go to college." You know, and I had the same kind of situation with Zoe, and I was Winston did get potty trained when he was 4 something. Zoe when she was 3. They're exactly a year apart. Zoe being the youngest, and Zoe had my number for sure. I can remember the day when she stopped in diapers and she was into her threes, okay? And my mama had come to visit. And my mama and I were standing, we were in the dining room or something like that, and we were talking. And Zoe kept pulling on my skirt. And so I said, "Just a minute, honey, I'll be with you." And Nana and I are talking. So she pulled again, and so Mom said, "See what that child wants." So I said, "What is it, Zoe?" And Zoe said, "I need my diaper changed. I don't want to get diaper rash." Okay. My mama looked at me and she said, "You just ought to be ashamed of yourself. I can't even believe this." Okay. But it was so embarrassing to me that what I did is I took control of the situation. I said to Zoe, I said, "Look, this is the last diaper that we had in the house." Now that was a lie, okay, but I had to somehow try to get in through to her because she was intelligent and she knew what was going on. So I said, "This is the last diaper that's in the house, and I'm throwing this one away." So we walked over to the trash can. I threw it away, and I put her on regular underwear. And she didn't have any accidents. She had one, overnight, just one. Okay, and it just amazed me how she was doing it because she knows she could get away with it, and that is rebellious spirit. Now, some other examples. When I was in the Christian church, I remember having a very lively conversation with my cousin. She belonged to one church, and I belonged to another church. And her was like a Word of Faith church, and I think probably was a Baptist church. And so we were talking about the rapture. And so we both agreed on the pre-tribulation rapture. Okay, none of this in the Bible. Okay. So, but we both agreed on the pre-tribulation because who want to be here when all the wrath being poured out? Okay, so we want to be, not left behind. Okay, now with all this talking going on, neither one of us thought about pulling out a Bible to, to look at what we were talking about. And if we had, we would have found out that the rapture is not in the Bible. But we didn't know that. And that was part of rebellious spirit, is not knowing the Bible, not really searching for the Bible. But what stops a lot of people is thinking that they already have the answers based on the Christian sermons or whatever your religion is, based on those sermons or teachings that you've heard. And I wonder what effect it would have had on us if we had known that John Nelson Darby had invented the rapture doctrine in the 1830s. Okay. And I learned that in the discipleship program. So if you're interested in the discipleship program, it's discipleship101.tv. and it's produced by Arthur Bailey, and it will teach you so much about how to search the Bible for yourself. Now, another example of rebellion. During my Christian days, I followed various charismatic ministers. I had my favorites, and one of my favorites happened to be a favorite of my grandmother. So when this minister would come to town, I would get her and probably a couple more of her friends, and we would go, to the. It was really sort of like a concert and a teaching because he was real flashy. He played the saxophone and he could dance while he was playing the saxophone, and he was a dynamic speaker. Okay, every once in a while, Floyd would listen to him occasionally. But when Floyd and I, our family, joined the Seventh-day Adventist Church, we put aside all those Christian ministers primarily because they didn't keep the Sabbath and they ate things that they call food that really wasn't food if you read Leviticus 11. So then some years had passed by. Floyd and I were on vacation, and I was looking through the channels, and one of my favorite ministers came up, and he was preaching. So I said, well, let me see what he's talking about. And I haven't heard him in years. And when I heard what he was talking about, I started yelling, Floyd, come here, quick. So when Floyd came in, he heard him, what he was preaching was, there is no hell, and everybody, sinners included, will go to the eternal reward of being reconciled with God. Floyd and I looked at each other in amazement. Where did he get that doctrine? So rebellion can lead you to false doctrines totally away from the word of Jehovah. Paul wrote in 1 Timothy 4:1, Timothy, verse 1, now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. So we need to be discerning. A person's steps, actions, and words are their fruit. And so we have to be fruit inspectors in order to avoid the pitfalls of this world and stay on the straight and the narrow path. And let's remember Psalms 1:1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. And remember, the only way you can identify a counterfeit is that you know the truth. Shalom. Please remember to like and share and subscribe if you haven't. Shalom.